Alright, you're welcome back. In this video we're going to be showing you how we arrived at the various widths for our sections in the feast layout. Okay, so first of all, like we said in the last video, we set the width to an absolute pixel count of 964 pixels, and you see in the header up here, and of course the nav bar up here, we set it to 964 pixels. So how do we come to that 964 pixels? It is quite easy. We remove the border for our left and of course our right, and that will give us 964 pixels, and we'll do that in a minute. First of all, we have border, and this border property which we have here, solid 2 pixels white, it means that we have 2 pixels on the left and 2 pixels on the right, and that makes it 4 pixels. Okay, so if we add 4 pixels to 964, it will give us 968. So that's how we'll come about the 964 pixel count. So 4 pixels here plus 964 gives us 968. So it is the exact span which we have set for our container. It retains that same exact span for our nav bar and of course our header section. Okay, and those ones are not quite tricky. When the parts where it gets tricky is when you have to work with elements that are side by side, like our sidebar and our main container. They are both side by side. That's where the calculation gets tricky, and we're going to look at how we came about this particular calculation shortly. Okay, so we move on now to the sidebar and the main content. In the sidebar, we're going to make a calculation to show you how we arrive at 176 for the sidebar in terms of width, and 786 pixel count in terms of width for our main content. Okay, so first of all, we have in the sidebar 176 plus these 2 pixels of our border left. We give our border left 2 pixels. Okay, so for border bottom and border, these other border properties, they don't count in terms of width because it is on the bottom. The borders that count are the borders that are either on the right or on the left. Okay, so we only gave this border left property because if we put border right here as well, let's go to the picture, we only give this a border left property of 2 pixels. If we were to put another border here, this main content will also have its own border, so that would then make it 4 pixels, and it will exceed our initial 968 pixel count which we are working with. So we only gave it a left border. If we go back to our CSS, you see that we only gave it our sidebar, only gave it a border hyphen left, and we gave it a pixel count of 2 pixels. Okay, so we'll add that 2 pixels to our width, which is 176, pardon me. That will give us 178 pixels for the entire width of our sidebar. Okay, so what we're doing now, we're going to add it to our main content to see how that adds up to 968 pixels. Okay, so for our main content, we have 2 pixels here in terms of border left, 2 pixels, border right 2 pixels, so that would be 4 pixels altogether. So we add 4 pixels from the border on our main content to our initial sidebar width and its border, and that will give us 182 pixels. And the width that we set from our main content is 786 pixels. Okay, so if we add 786 pixels, that will give us the total width which we have been working with, and is 968. Okay, and that 968 is the initial width of our container div. So you see that it fits perfectly into our container div, because everything we're working on within our container div is exactly the same pixel count with our container div. We'll just go over it again quickly. We have 2 pixels here on our sidebar, and we have 176 pixels as the width of our sidebar. The 2 pixels here is for our border, and 176 pixels is the original width of our sidebar. So if we add that together, you have 100 and if you add that together, let's just go over that again, 176. Okay, I just want to be thorough, so I'm doing this all over again so you get it. 176, because that's where it really gets tricky. 176 plus 2 pixels on the left, which is our border left, it gives you 178. Okay, so in the main content we have border left and border right here, border right, border left, and they are both 2 pixels each, and that makes for 4 pixels. So add 4 pixels to give us 182, plus the width of the main content, or the main content panel, or the main section is the width of the main section is 786, and that gives us okay, I'm sure there's a bit of a mix up there. Okay, 182 plus 786. Okay, and that gives us 968 pixels, and 968 pixels is our width for our container div. Okay, so if for instance in our main content we were to go over 786 pixels and have more than 786 pixels, I'll show you what happens shortly. Let's say we have 789 pixels. We'll save this up and come down here and hit refresh. You see that our main content seems to have disappeared. What happened is it goes under the it goes under our sidebar. Okay, you see that it becomes under the sidebar. That is because we increase we use the wrong calculation. As you can see, it is now under our sidebar. That's our main content panel is now under our sidebar, and that is because we use we went beyond the right calculation, or the proper calculation for our sidebar. Okay, for our main content rather. And if we use less than 786 pixels, let's say 782, I'm going to save this up. It will still give some strange results, but not as strange as when we go over. Okay, you will see that it falls short of the width of our navigation bar and our header section. So it falls short, and this does not look very professional and pleasing to the eye. So you must get your calculations correctly in order for you to be spot on in how your feast layout would appear. So it is 786, and we'll save this and hit refresh, and you see that it is spot on. So you have to be spot on with your calculation on your width. It has to be exact so that it will come out perfectly. And you see, if we resize, everything stays the same. Okay, when we resize, everything stays the same and in perfect shape. So that ought to do it for this video. We'll see you in our next class. Thank you for watching.